Mike, and welcome to Retro Boost. Hopefully this will be a quick video. This is just a really interesting little quick topic to go through. So two things. Number one, the 5X Pro got a new optional remote, the premium remote, as it is referred to as. Additionally, one thing I've never done that I feel like I should, just to have it out there, is show how you update the firmware for the 5X Pro. I've seen a couple comments ask about like, oh, there's like a firmware process. They're out there, so I know that there are some people that may not know about it. It's a very simple process, so doing a tutorial is probably unnecessary, but I'm going to briefly go through it just in case you haven't experienced it. I think it would be handy for it to just be there. So I'm going to talk about that process really quick, but then also go into this new remote itself, because it is pretty interesting and pretty cool. It's definitely not required, it's optional, but if you find yourself, if you're someone that really tinkers with the 5X Pro settings kind of constantly, you may really like it. It has a lot of shortcut potential because practically every one of the 5X Pro's functions and major menu things is on this remote, just at your fingertips. It's really cool. So we'll talk about both of those things. So if you find the video helpful and informative, feel free to subscribe. Continue to help me grow the channel, getting beyond 930 or 40 subscribers now. I think it's like 941 as of the time of me recording this video. Thank you everyone who's watched and subscribed. It really does mean a lot. I have a lot of fun making these videos. It's a genuine like hobby for me. It's a thing to put my free time into. It's what I like to do. I like to talk about this retro technology. It's super interesting, but I really appreciate everyone for supporting the channel by subscribing, things like that. It's really awesome. So let's get into it. Let's first talk about the remote itself. Then we'll go into the firmware process and then kind of circle back to a little bit about the remote at the end as well. So here we go. Well, first things first, let's compare the original remote to this new one. The original remote definitely evokes a kind of like Roku vibe to it. I think I may have read once that it's like some kind of repurposed Roku remote. I could believe that, but it does its job and then some. I have had the same remote since first buying a 5X Pro. I got like the second batch when they first came out. I got mine like whatever that was, July, September 2021. Same remote ever since. I actually bought a second one. I kind of just assumed that at some point this remote would break on me. Never has. It's great. I've got no complaints. As far as functionality goes, when the console first came out, different functions were mapped to these buttons, but since the what was it, firmware 2.76 or 7.7, somewhere around then was when the menu interface first appeared, that put a lot more ease of access to all the various functions of the 5X Pro to comb around. The most current firmware that's currently available as of the time of this video coming out is 3.71, which kind of reorganized the menu, added some fixes and enhancements here and there, but also added compatibility for the new remote. So the new remote, by comparison, has a lot more functions built right onto it. Taking a look at the new guy, put you back down. No, it was so perfect. Come on, just be cool. Okay. Looking at the new remote, we can see that all the various like source functions, like being able to toggle between component, RGB, composite, all those inputs are there. The number buttons are for the profiles, so quick access to your profiles. Very cool. There's also buttons for all the output resolutions. I don't know why I'm having trouble speaking right now. I'm too excited, I guess. So there's a lot of like shortcut functionality that this remote brings to the table. So currently I've got Super Nintendo on the screen right now. That's just the generic profile, just regular 1080p fill, generic 4:3, sharp. Nothing else special going on. I have not yet created my profiles again, because when you do upgrade the firmware, you have to recreate your profiles. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to quickly go through how you actually upgrade the firmware, and then, using the new remote, I will see how quick and easy it is to build out and save a, let's do like 1 or 2 different Super Nintendo profiles. So let's go into the firmware upgrade process real quick. Upgrading the firmware is very simple. First, you need to connect the 5X Pro to your computer, but don't just plug it in. You have to do it a specific way. You have to hold down the menu button on the 5X Pro when you're inserting a micro USB cable between the computer and the 5X Pro. Holding the menu button while you plug it in will power it on, but it will also power it on in its update mode, indicated by the red light. Now, all you need are the RetroTINK firmware tool. It's a program, application, and then the RetroTINK drivers, both of which you can find about 2/3 of the way down the page of the 5X Pro's firmware update page on RetroTINK's website. I'll show it here as I'm talking about it, obviously, but then also put a link in the description as well, just to make it easier for you. So download and install all of that, the drivers, then the program itself. Once all that's ready to go, and you got the 5X Pro plugged in, you got it in firmware mode with the red lights on, all you gotta do now is open up the program, the RetroTINK firmware tool. You'll hit search, it'll find the device in question, whether this is a 5X Pro, a 2X Pro, whatever. It'll find it by filling in that one line with the USB device it is. You'll then load the update file. Once again, download that from RetroTINK's firmware page. Obviously, make sure that you're installing the right firmware for the right device. You wouldn't want to flash 2X Pro firmware into the 5X Pro or vice versa. I'm going to choose the 5X Pro 3.71 hex file. And then from there, once all that's loaded up, you just hit flash and it's good to go. It can take a while. Some of these firmware updates, like, they can take multiple minutes, but typically it is pretty quick. It'll go through its process, and then when it's done, the 5X Pro will kind of do a little power cycle and boot back up to a normal status, indicated by its purple light, because the later firmware updates have a default to component when it turns on. It's purple light. It may have always done that, actually. I don't remember or not, thinking back a couple years, but that's what it does. So at that point, you can just turn it off, disconnect it, and you've got the new firmware. So now, using said new firmware, let's take this new remote here and see how expeditiously I can create a new Super Nintendo profile. So, I've got my 5X Pro here, got Castlevania 4 loaded up, components, just the default profile. When you upgrade the firmware, like I said before, it'll reset all your profiles, so you do have to create them all over again. I'm looking forward to the RetroTINK 4K, if only because of its SD card support. You never have to worry about that kind of stuff ever again. So, let's get this going. So, pause the game because it is timed. So, firstly, very conveniently, if this wasn't on component, with this new remote, I can very quickly navigate to the exact input that I want, whether it be composite or like RGB. We're going to bring it back to component though. So swapping that's very quick now. But I can also quickly swap out the output resolution I want. So how about 1080p under? Boom. Press the button. Give it a second to catch up. 1080p under. Okay, I don't know if I want that one. How about 1080p fill? That's the usual go-to for me. And there we go. 1080p fill. 1080p over. Boom. Sick. It's kind of cool that I can just do that. Boop, 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 bam. Now let's see here. We got all the other ones too. Scaling cropping. Okay, SCL for scaling cropping. I like how quick that is though. So once you get a feel for what buttons do what. Scale, because we do have to scale a little bit. The game's a little bit too big. Let's bring it down a little bit. You know, one thing I need to do actually before I even do this is we gotta get it in the right sampling mode. So is there a shortcut for that? There is. Samp! Boom, sampling. We're saving literally seconds of time. I mean, I'm joking, but like, it is pretty cool. You can snap to the stuff. So back. Why would I navigate manually when I could just do that? Boom, shortcuts. I can already kind of get a feel for it. If you get really used to this, it is very quick. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna get it scaled to how I like it. It may look a little weird on capture because I'm using my TV right now as opposed to my capture preview. So it splits, so I'm getting like direct from the 5X Pro to my TV versus going through. I'm using an HDMI splitter basically. So it may look kind of whack on the capture. That's pretty good, I guess. Obviously it's way off of native 4x3. What does it look like on the capture? Oh no, they're pretty close. Alright. Okay, I think I like that. So boop bap beep. Beep bop boop. Beep beep bop boop beep. Okay, so we just did our sampling, we did our scaling, interpolation. Don't have to mess with that much at all. It's already sharp, it's cool. What else we need to do? The buttons do it, yes. Output resolution. Oh, okay, different buttons for different things. How convenient. I guess the type of VSync we want to go for, like frame lock or gen lock are usually recommended. Although for capture, triple buffering is probably the best. But I'm just going to go ahead and do frame lock, I guess. It's my usual go-to. Not gonna do HDR, but I mean, if you know, HDR is really great for the scanline stuff. If you're gonna do scanlines, HDR injection can be really cool. Although it does have an effect on the image in general because it tricks the TV into going into HDR picture mode. That actually may have looked better. Let me. It looks really good on my TV. The capture is a little kind of overdone. It's overcooked. It's well done, a little bit too well done. On the TV though, this looks really good. But I'm not gonna turn it on for the sake of this. Cool. So, bam. So that's a basic profile right there. So let's go ahead and. What if I just hit save? Oh, it brings up the menu. So slot 1. Let's just call it, well, I'll just call it SNES. Well, 1 SNES. The buttons are, it's responsive. I've only had a couple of inputs get missed, and it's debatably because it's missing, it's not hitting the 5X Pro directly. Okay, if I hit the save button, will it save it? No. Not. I still have to hit save. I wonder what the save button's for then. Okay. Load. Load brings up the same menu. Or did it? Interesting. Stat. Oh, it's the about screen. Get all of our statistics. Okay, so kind of clunky because I'm still getting used to the remote, obviously, but that was building a profile with the new remote. I mean, obviously, this is not like a requirement. The regular remote can do all these things. I guess if I get like really good at getting a feel for where all the buttons are and what they do. I mean, what they do isn't exactly a mystery. They all say what they do, but get a feel for where every function is. I mean, that process could get like really, really fast. It is just kind of awesome that I could just like at one button press, like change the output resolutions and things like that. Get right into the sampling menu with one button press. Like, that's all really cool because I find myself doing that kind of stuff a lot for recording things for the videos that I do. I have to go in there and change that kind of stuff like all the time. So, alright, definitely not a required device, but a very cool one. If you find yourself tinkering with your 5X Pro settings kind of constantly, you may really like this thing. The current price of it was $30. Not terrible as far as the price goes. I mean, for a remote that has as much functionality as it has built in, and I think that's a terrible deal. I don't have a problem with that personally. Definitely really cool. It's also worth noting that you could, if you were adventurous enough, program a Harmony remote to do all of these same things. So I've talked about this before. I believe I brought this up in my original 5X Pro video, but you can program this to control the 5X Pro, and one thing I don't know for sure is if it comes kind of preloaded with a lot of these functions. I want to say that it had some, but not all of what the new remote can do, but just to kind of show that I'm not kidding, I have like, okay, interpolation. Ooh. Output oh, I gotta exit first. Exit. Output res menu. Exit again. Input menu. So like a Harmony remote can do a lot of the same stuff. You can manually assign stuff to the buttons as well. So like I forgot what I did, but like these buttons do things. Red, those are the sources. Green should be component. Right? No. If I could see. Blue. Yellow's composite. Green. I don't know. I don't know what I did. I broke it. Oh no. Ooh. And we're back. Scan lines. Oh no, sorry. Scaling. I keep doing that. So, alright. So Harmony can do a lot of the same stuff as well. If you have a Harmony remote, you would be able to program a lot of things into it. Some of these functions I had to program by teaching the Harmony remote from the new remote. But I will say that this one is easier to use than my Harmony is, because this has every button available on it now. My Harmony Elite, this thing here, a lot of it is relegated to the touch screen, and it's definitely quicker to just like press the buttons here versus having to search through them on the Harmony screen. Typically I try to assign only a small number of things to the touchscreen on my Harmony remote for my various things I use it for, as opposed to like an entire list of stuff. There's only so many things that can assign to the buttons before I forget what they even do, as just happened a second ago with the inputs changing. I don't remember what I did with them. So, all right, cool. Hope this was helpful in showing off kind of what this remote's all about. I think it is pretty cool. I'm gonna definitely commit to using it more and more and more, and I might circle back to this topic and kind of show like, okay, we can see where I was today with it. You know, it's got potential for some quick adjustments and navigation. I'm still getting used to it, and I'll see if it turns me into a real 5X Pro settings expert, and maybe I'll like speedrun setting up all my profiles again or something as like a goofy video. So who knows. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope this is all helpful for you. Feel free to subscribe to help continue helping me grow the channel. Definitely appreciate you watching though. Have a great rest of your day.